Okay, so you're used to seeing me combo off with like Adventure Synchron. I've recently picked up a new deck, Adventure Crystron. I've seen a lot of variants utilizing the Azamina package, the Fenrir stuff, the Cash stuff. I've seen a few Finsmith stuff. And then the Crystron Discord has been wilding out with like Atlantean Crystron. It's really wild. I mean, it's cool. The fact that you can like combine so many cards together, I think that's a lot of fun. But for this video, I'm going to show you guys a few combos that I feel like I was completely unaware about until this point. I showed you guys a variant of this combo, but I don't think it was optimized because I was still fairly new to the deck and sequencing was a bit off. But now I'm going to show you guys how basically NIBIRU is it just doesn't matter whether you open up with Inclusion or you open up with Smyger. It's just insane. And there's a cool thing you can do with the turtle, which is why I'm a big fan of it. So the first combo is going to be with Inclusion. So activate Inclusion, searching your Sulfador. So what CRYSTRON Inclusion does, on activation, it lets you search for a Crystron card from your deck and add it to your hand. And in Graveyard, you can banish it and special summon a Crystron monster from your banished or your graveyard, which is super useful. So it's like a searcher and a reborn in one card, which is amazing. And then this guy, he pops a face-up Crystron card, summons himself from hand or grave, which is pretty cool. So we're gonna go ahead and use that now. So activate, destroy this, send this to the graveyard, and then on summon, whenever it's normal or special summon, you can dump 2 Crystron cards from your deck to the graveyard. But then you're locked into machines the moment you special summon from hand or grave. Okay, just keep that in mind. That's very important. Also, be mindful. It'll depend on what you dump based on how you start your combo. If you start your combo with Inclusion, then you dump the purple and the yellow, okay? Because then you get through Smyger to this, because this card banishes itself from the graveyard to add a Crystron monster from your deck to your hand. And then this one, you discard a Crystron card to summon him from hand or grave, which is pretty cool. So that's how you get to your Smyger, and then Smyger ends up getting your trap. But if you do it the other way around, where you open up a Smyger, Smyger has to search this. So then in this case, this would have to dump the trap and Tristaros. I'll show you the combo after, but let's just do the standard one. So you dump these 2, you then activate purple, giving you white. You then pitch the white for the yellow, special stuff up there. And then when it's summoned, he can pop a card on the field. Okay, then you pop itself. Effect triggers in the graveyard. Whenever it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon a Crystron monster from your deck. You summon your Crystron Tristaros, and then you Synchro into your Eleskeletus. There's some arguments that you can banish this first to search for your trap, right? Because then you could possibly add this back off of Eleskeletus, because you haven't used your normal summon. So then you can normal summon and make your Clockwork Knight, because that is a line that you can do. Because you can make Clockwork Knight with this. So just be mindful of that. So whichever one you feel like, okay, I can do this. And depending on the rest of your hand, you can do accordingly, right? So you can add this back. Okay. And then you add your trap with Smyger. Smyger banishes itself to add a Crystron spell trap from deck, which is pretty useful. Okay, then you activate the effects of Tristaros, okay? Targeting your Eleskeletus. Destroying it, and then you summon 2. You summon your second, and then either of the 5s, it doesn't really matter. And the reason you do it this way, because in the previous combo I showed you, I would summon 2 5s, and then Eleskeletus would then summon the banished Tristaros. But if you do it that way, they can drop Nib in response to this effect, right? Meaning you can't get 2 5s on board anymore, something to be mindful of. Whereas this route, if they drop Nib in response to the effect of Eleskeletus reviving your 5, you can chain this, right? So you chain this, summon your Sulfador, Synchro, your Destroyer. The Nib will then resolve, giving you a token, right? And then Eleskeletus will then resolve, right? Because they chained in response. So you summon this, and then now Destroyer triggers, summoning back your 5. And then you still get to where you want to go initially, right? Nova, and then your Infinity. And then now your Inclusion revives this, and you have your setup. It literally doesn't matter where they drop it. At any given point, you have that option, which is really good. And then if they wait for this to be summoned, right? They wait for the effect to resolve. Then if you hear, the same thing. You chain, summon, go for this, resolves, gives you a token, and then new chain your Samurai Destroyer triggers, summons back this. You still have your Inclusion, banish to summon back a Crystron, right? So you can summon a 5, so you can go either way. You can summon this back, or you can summon this guy back, right? The only difference if they drop it there is that you don't get your Tristaros. A bit unfortunate, but still. You get to your Omni, and you get to a trap off of one card, right? One card produced Omni and an interaction, which is really nice. But what happens if you start with Smyger? I mean, it's still fun. You still have combo. They both play through Nib, which is really nice. So you summon, link it away, go into Clockwork Knight. This is banished, by the way. You add your Inclusion, activate Inclusion, add your Sulfador, activate Sulfador, pop your spell, summon, you dump. And this is where you dump different things because this cannot add your trap anymore. So in this case, you dump your Cluster and your Tristaros because you already burnt your normal summon. So you have to get access to your Tristaros and your trap in some way. So this is a bit more vulnerable to Nibiru, but like nonetheless, it's still a play, right? So you activate Tristaros a bit earlier than the last combo. Summon this back. Okay. And this synchros into your Elesk. You then activate Elesk, adding back your trap. Okay, so this is in hand. You then activate the effect of Tristaros and targeting your Elesk. You summon your second one and you summon your other 5. And then right here, this is where you trigger Elesk, reviving your other one. And if the Nib drop you here, it's a bit more trickier because you don't have Inclusion to revive your 5. So you could have done it in a different way, but that means you sacrifice the trap. But let's say they don't, you just do standard combo. This into this, set cluster, and you pass. This is like just chilling. Like there's not much you can do with this guy, he's just there. It's just there to link off the Smyger. But that's just off one card, which is still pretty good. But let me show you what I mean by sacrificing the cluster so you can still end on this. So it'll depend whether you prioritize the quick synchro or you prioritize the cluster. It'll vary from game to game, but for the most part, there's another way to do it. So let's say you summon Smyger, link it away. You go for a Clockwork Knight, effective Smyger, add Inclusion, activate Inclusion, add in your Sulfador, effective Sulfador, pop this, special, effect to dump. And in this case, you dump your Sulfador and you dump your TEESPRING. Okay, so this ensures that it allows you to get an Omni post Nibiru. Okay, so you'll see what I mean. This is why I like this turtle. Okay, so you activate TEESPRING, get turtle, you then pitch Sulfador, summon, effect pop, summon. If they choose to nib you here, because you have summoned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they could nib you here. Then you still have the infinity, right? Because then you just chain this, summon your samurai, tributes, samurai triggers, revives your 5, this revives your other 5, your infinity, right? But the only difference then is that you don't have access to your trap. So that's the only issue with this line. But for the most part, let's say you continue. You go into this, go into your Elesk. Elesk will then add back your 5. Right? This comes up, you'll see, right? And then you go effective Tristaros, banish to pop this. Because if they chain nib there, you won't get the names from your deck, but you already have set up for infinity, right? So at least you get an Omni. So you're basically, one card is still giving you Omni, so it's not the worst, right? Just keep it in mind. So let's say they nib you there, right? You get a token. And then now you have turtle, special, inclusion, banish, special, infinity, right? Let's say it resolves. Summon your Tristaros, your 5, and then of course you trigger your Elesk, targeting your 5, right? And same thing, if they try to nib drop here, you do the same thing. Effect, summon, right? Let's say they nib drop it here, right? Let's say you chain this. Okay, then you get nib dropped here. This is where everything, you lose everything. Okay, token, now you're here. Then samurai triggers, reviving your 5. You have turtle, banish itself. Summon this here. You go into your infinity. And then this revives your Tristaros. And getting to your end board is not the issue through Nibiru, which is what I like about this deck. And you have a lot of win card combos. And because I played Adventure Crystron, just makes the deck a lot better, I think, for going second. Because this sequence, going second, isn't too threatening, right? It's not much you can do to force interaction. It's just something up and just, oh, okay, you can play around Nib, so Nib's not an issue. And then if like, depending on whether you hard open this, whether you hard open this, whether you already open this, whether you have this as an extender, will depend how impactful their interactions are towards your hand, right? Or towards your sequencing. Because sometimes what happens is you'll link this away, right? You go for clock. You activate effect. Sometimes they might ash that, but you already have this, right? You already have this. Okay, well, what if I save the ash for this? Okay, activate ash. Okay, well, what if I already had this? Okay, pop special. Okay, pop this. Negate the dump. Okay, well, what if I already have this? Right? What if I already have this? What if I have any combination of these two to get me to this? Right? So it's like a guessing game. But I feel like if you want to beat this deck, just don't interact with any of that. Just wait towards the end when they use Trist effect engrave. So whenever they go Trist effects, right? Target this, just ash this. Just ash this, and it'll be devastating. Because for one, they don't pop and they don't summon, so they don't get access to their infinity setup, and they don't get access to the float, right? The only thing is if they do the other route where they dump the trap, then you have to consider that that's all you have to deal with, a double pop, right? That's all you have, just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So that's the cool thing about this deck. It's resilient in that sense. It's hard to kind of pinpoint where to interact, because sometimes ashing this does end a turn. Sometimes ashing the float does end your turn because you don't get to summon your guy. Sometimes stopping this does hurt because you didn't open this, right? And another niche thing that you can do as well is this guy. This guy can reborn your dragster. It's awesome because it's zero. This tributes a machine to reborn a machine that's 1k or less attack. And this is 0. So in the grand game, if you didn't start with Smyger, you can make this tribute anything, I guess, and then revive your dragster. It's like, that's pretty cool. I thought that the interaction was nice. But yeah, like any other combo, you would either just dump this, no? You would dump this, and then this would then add this back as part of the sequencing that I just showed you. So, because typically this adds something back, right? And if Smyger search this, right? Smyger can't search the trap anymore, so you have to dump it with this guy. And think of Salamangreat and Wolf. This is Gazelle dumping the trap. This is Wolf adding back the trap, right? Think of it that way, because that's the easiest way to think about it. But yeah, the deck's a lot of fun, especially the adventure variant. I know like a lot of you are kind of getting used to just normal summoning this and then playing, but there's ways around it. Like this, it's just so nice. I just like the fact that this can turn into anything you want it to be. Like this, if you're missing engine, it'll give you engine. If you're missing adventure, it'll give you adventure. Like it's either or. That's why this is such a strong starter. But yeah, that's basically it. If I uncover any more niche things or any cool things you can be interactive with, depending on how you sequence your turn. But for the most part, it's very simplistic once you get the hang of it. There's not much you can do apart from trying to implement other bricks or risking a nib drop and doing like a crazier line, because but like I wanted to ensure that I can play through nib efficiently, and that's basically it. Yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe if you haven't, and thanks for watching.